Right, what I actually think is all these Muslims, right, that's come over in the last 20, 30, 40 years, one came over, then they fetched all family, didn't they? You know, and it were all down to cheap labour, government wanting cheap labour, etc. And probably same again to scam so they can put money in their own pocket. And it don't take a lot of working out. Well, all these Muslims what are here in UK, right? They're all on dole. Job seekers allowance it's called now. They've given it a nice title. Let's call it dole. So they're on dole. So all these asylum seekers, but not just these asylum seekers, right? They're not asylum seekers, they're invaders, right? So many years back, go back 40 years back, 50 years back, good 40, 50 years back, and up to now, to 2025, a lot of these Muslims, they're actually on dole, they're unemployed, job seekers allowance. Now, right, I've been unemployed a lot, and a lot of times I won't sign on dole. I'd just go into somebody's garden and get a tenner, get 20 quid, and that's how I used to go on. And I just won't go on dole. I didn't want to get that mindset where I were unemployed and only money I'd got is dole money. So a lot of these Muslims, they're on dole. So, when I've actually been to sign on, it's all changed now. I have never seen a Muslim, right? This is according to statistics, this is according to MPs, right, what I've seen online. A lot of these Muslims are unemployed, they've got no job. Now, when I've actually been unemployed, I've been to the dole office and I've been to sign on. I've never seen a Muslim there. I've never seen, a Pakistani man there, never seen one. And why is that? I mean, you might do in your area, but in our area, and Barnsley, they don't actually like, Pakistani people. And I think if there's a lot of Pakistani people actually did come to Barnsley, there might be a few there now, they'd get trouble, because Barnsley just don't like Pakistani people. Now, like we said before, Muslims, I'm sure there is a lot of, well, not a lot, I'm sure there's a few good ones, but you've got me drift. They don't like us, they're coming to our country, they just don't like us, but they're coming here and they're taking us money. And they're running country down with the help of the government. Actually, it's with government, because let's face it, government could easily stop this, couldn't they? They could easily stop it. They sat there on their arse and they're going, oh, well, we in next 5 years, where are we going to be? We can't carry on like this. We're spending millions and billions of pounds a year, and X amount's going to him, X amount's going to him, and all these hotels. When all these hotels are actually full up, where will they go? Well, send them back, you damn loonies. Stop it. Stop the money. Stop subsidising foreigners that's coming to the country. Stop it. Get the army and get the navy in. And there's that many here, we'll not be able to get them all out. And it'll take 10, 20 years to get them all out. No, it won't. Right, let me move over. No, it won't. Actually, you could do it in a couple of years. And you could build a supermax prison and put them in prison and then deport them. And, you're spending all this money on, you're giving them dole, you're putting them up in hotels. So why ain't that money being put into Army, Navy, Air Force to move them back where they came from? And if they do come to this country of England, why do you not? Morning! So why do you not actually, why don't you put money into sending them back? Right, because they're never going to stop coming, are they, if you're getting them. Yeah, you don't even do it to your own people. You don't put your own people up in hotels. You know, if there were a guy, and let's say we had an hero, right? We've got an hero, he'd been in army, he's got his leg blown off, and he saved a lot of people. He were a good guy, and he were an honest guy, and you know, he went to unemployment or he wrote to his MP. Would they put him up in an hotel? Would they always like? This is just one person before invaders came. Would they put him up in an hotel? Give him a phone and give him spending money? Would they? Hell, they won't do it. This is just one person. But hundreds of thousands of invaders are coming and they're doing it. They're paying them. They're paying them to come. And then, you know, they're saying, oh, we're doing this and they're doing nothing about it. All you see on TikTok, right, or YouTube, right, or Facebook, which I don't frequent. So, you know, all you see is all these boats coming in every day, thousands coming, 1200s coming, and it's never stopping, and we can't stop it. You can stop it. You know, because if you made it England, if you made England an unwelcome place to all these Muslims, right, take your shirt off, walk around with no shirt on, oh, it's illegal to do that now. And it's going to be where they're going to end up shooting you before long for spitting on corner of the street. So they could do it, couldn't they? Stop making them comfortable, stop giving handouts. Then they'd think, oh, we don't want to go to England. But now it's all out. It's all out. It's in, you know, it's online. Go to England. You get a TV, you get a telly. There's women and there's a lot of rapists coming over. And there's a lot of shitty Muslims coming over. Right? Look, England's not a Muslim country. And this is me. When I get back to England, I will actually support the UK. I'll be doing videos on it. And you know, all these people, you know, freedom of speech, you're putting them in prison. You can't do that. You can't put someone, an English citizen, in prison for freedom of speech, but you're not doing it to a Muslim. So it's one rule for one, another rule for other. So who's paying you? You know, it's got absolutely crazy. So, civil war's gonna come. And when you've got no money, civil war will come. And then you'll not, but then what will you do? You'll bring army in, and you'll be fighting, and his own people will be getting killed. Right, well that suits other side, doesn't it? You know, that suits other side. You know, these invaders. So, can you believe it? We can't stop them coming in. You can stop them coming in. You know, way. And what about this one? Right. These invaders, right, they were paying £10,000 to boat people. Right, so that also gets me thinking. They've got £10,000 or £5,000 to pay these boat people to come to England. So they've got all this money, so why are they coming here in first place? You know, if you've got 5,000 or 10,000 English pounds, why are you coming here? You've got money, and then, you know, you're getting all these subsidies off UK government. Why would you do that? Why would you pay all this money? Because England has been stamped all over the world now as a country of, they'll give you an house, even though they've already got an house somewhere abroad, you know, wherever they live coming from. So, you know, they've got an house abroad, now they want one in England, and they're playing system, aren't they? But they're letting them do it. So what's really going off? Like I said, it's got to be money. It's got to be money, ill-gotten gains. And putting people in prison for freedom of speech. You can't do that. Well, obviously they are doing it. Once overthrowing. And it has to be said, right, royal family. Now, I actually loved Lady Diana. But royal family, you know, there's just no value. The British public have got value. The upper crust, as it's called, it's not upper crust, they've just got money. You know, they're no better than what you are. They've just got that money. right? And they're trying to control. Jump, how high, sir? Yes, sir. No, sir. They're trying to control everyone. But, you know, like I said, there's going to be a war, isn't there? And they won't stop it, will they? Because I'll tell you now, when one country decides to go, it'll all go, and it will go. And then you've got Starmer, and he's wanting to send our soldiers in, look, Ukraine. I actually wanted to go to Ukraine, and I actually wanted to fight. And why would I want to do that, right? Why would I want to go? Why would I want to go to the Ukraine and fight for a... Because I thought it were wrong. I thought it were wrong that innocent people were getting killed. I thought it were wrong that Russia were attacking Ukraine and killing innocent people. And, you know, it'd be lovely if this war stopped. But now we're at war. A lot of people might not think it. You know, you just sat there in England and you might think, well, we're not at war. No, what's happening? But what's happening now is Starmer wants to send our soldiers to Ukraine. But, you know, I would have volunteered to go myself. But I heard online, whether it's true or not, a lot of soldiers in England, army boys, they're actually packing army in because they don't want to go and fight for Starmer. Well, you're not fighting for Starmer, are you? But I do understand where you're coming from. You're actually fighting for another country, but that's your choice. You know, if you don't want to do it, you no need to do it. Why don't Starmer go? Why don't Starmer stand in, you know, on front line, and why don't he go? He won't do that, will he? Because he won't do it, because they're cowards. They won't do it. You know, they can dictate, and that's where I find dictators are nasty little people, aren't they? And, you know, that's where England's going. So, from England to UK, so that's where it's going. And it's gone mad. And I actually do think civil war will come. And just let me say, you know, oh, now then, let me have a think. Did I go down there? Oh, I don't think I'll get in anyway. But I'll have a little walk. I want to do, look. I can't see there being out here. Just watch where I'm walking. So, you've got me drift. You know, UK, England, you have to stand up. Putting people in prison for freedom of speech. That's absolutely ludicrous. All these Muslim gangs are supposed to be running prisons. Well, do something about it. Take the damn rights. Lock them up 24 hours a day. You know, humans have got rights. Of course they've got rights. But they ain't got type of rights what you are giving them. You know. I mean, you people, you know, you government people, you're putting people in prison for freedom of speech. Wow, how crazy is that? England, you'll not stop people. It's a strong country. It's got a strong people in England. They'll speak their mind. They don't fear. And like I said, when I come back to England, you know, put me inside. I don't really care. If I'm doing somebody some good, I did country some good, you know, put me inside. Just won't bother me at all. But what I'm saying is, you're just putting anyone in prison. You're going to try and put people. You can't make people fear you, and that's what you don't understand. People in England will not fear the government. Yeah, average people will fear. I'm sure average people will fear, but people like me, and there's a lot of people like me and you, they'll not fear to go to prison. They'll say what they like, they'll do what they like, so to speak, so long as it's above board. But this government, you know, and why ain't not being done? It's starting to rain now. Why ain't not being done? Why is nothing actually getting done? Well, it's got to be money, hasn't it? You know, why is army not being deployed? And it's like I said, good morning. So why an army being deployed? But Ireland, I actually knew Ireland would kick off. And I didn't know Ireland would kick off. Because I can remember when I was a kid, IRA, they were bombing in London. And I knew. And you know, when I watched Ireland and all these invaders in Ireland, I thought, well, I can't believe Irish. I know Irish are not soft, right? I know they're not soft. English are not soft either, right? We believe similar, and we'll die. We'll die for what we believe in. A lot of us will, right? And I thought, well, how come Irish aren't kicked off? Because I know what Ireland's like, and by the looks of it now, Ireland has kicked off, and Ireland started to riot. And I think UK will get worse and worse and worse. And then all these invaders will actually come here. You'll have to find some. They'll probably leave. You know, they'll probably leave. They'll probably be knocking on government door saying, oh, have you got a boat to get across? They want to leave to go back to their own country. So, take your country back, guys. Now, I know a lot of you guys are not illegal and you're very friendly people. And, you know, you're going to, forgot the word, so, you know, so you're going to demonstrate what you think, you're going to demonstrate in a good friendly way, and you're going to tell government, and you're going to tell Starmer you don't want him in government, and, you know, you're going to do it in a nice friendly way, which I know you are, but it will kick off sooner or later, and maybe it has already, I just don't know about it. So, you know, stuck here in Philippines, would be nice to get back to England, and I'm not going to rabbit on about it too much. I went online yesterday trying to get in touch with British Consulate here in Manila, no joy, you know, reload page, this address, there were always an excuse. So sooner or later I'll get there and I'll get back to England, and whether I have to whatever I have to face, I'll face it. I'm here in Philippines, you know. I got here in Philippines, I'm sure I can get back to England and face music, or face music here then get back to England. And, you know, whatever happens. Now, I wonder if I get back to England, I'm unemployed, right? And I'm unemployed. And I'm sure they won't give me a job. And I'm probably sure, you know, they won't let me sign on dole. Right. And I'm sure they'll not let me sign on dole. Job seekers allowance. Right. But, you know, if you were a Muslim, morning, so if you were a Muslim, it's a woman, number 23, so you know, if you're a Muslim, you'd get, well, you'd get it, wouldn't you, if you're coming over on boats. But, like I said, they're coming over on boats, they're fetching all this money over. Why they all, well, we know why they're coming, but if they've got all this money, they shouldn't be allowed to come anyway. So, you know, they've got all this money to pay boat people, but, you know, UK government, like I said, there's only one way for it, there's only one thing for it, and they must be lining their own pocket. Now, I'm not going that way, because there's a load of dogs on the road, and I've got a big stick, and I will lose my temper. And I don't, like I said, I don't care who's there. I will lose my temper because I've got sick of dogs now. So I'll try and avoid dogs. So I'm not going to go that way. So that's it. My little chat for this morning. Here, see? Right. Do we have any friendly dogs? Some of them are quite friendly, but, you know. Anyway, so that's it. Why are they all coming? Well, we know why they're coming. They're invited. You, the British public. Sorry, not you, the British public. Actually, the British government are inviting them in, aren't they? They're not stopping them whatsoever, are they? France is not stopping them. France is being paid millions, and it's actually ferrying them into England. and there's 1,000 a day coming, and you've got do-gooders on the beach, and they're welcoming them in, they're giving them a blanket, and they're feeding them, you know, feeding them. Wow, what will you do when they start to take over? Oh, what about this one? I did actually see it. I think it was Nigel Farage, UK Summit, Reform UK, sorry. So I actually did see this one. What were I going to say now? Just a moment.